Hey everyone. Before we get started, I actually want to dedicate this episode to Daniel Martinez. He had a long battle with addiction. He's actually Rudy Martinez, my guest on this episode. He is his brother. He dives into his relationship with his brother and everything that Daniel struggled with. But I want to dedicate this episode to Daniel because addiction is a real problem. A lot of people go through it and it causes more pain than people actually know. If you would like to help out, he left behind 2 little boys. So if you'd like to help Rudy and his family out with raising those little boys, you can send him a Venmo. The Venmo is at Rudy-Martinez-34. That's spelled RUDY-MARTINEZ-34. And I'll link it also in the show notes so you can look out for that. Send them $2, $5, any little bit will help. Especially now during the holiday season. I'm sure they would love to buy them some pretty extravagant gifts. So again, send them a Venmo. And thanks for listening. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to This Life, a podcast by Mayorca Media. I'm your host, Felix Mayorca. As always, we are at the Local Hub Studios. Local Hub is a co-working space here in Escondido, California. If you're looking for somewhere to work, if you're looking for somewhere to do homework, if you're looking for somewhere to do a podcast, this is the right place for you. So hit them up on Instagram, find them on Google. I never remember their website. I think it's localhubsd.com, but just Google them, you know. Shout out to our sponsors, Express Yourself and Picnicked. Anything else? That's it.
No.
All right. Who were your sponsors?
Sponsors, JG Wentworth, 877 Cash Now.
Yep.
If you use my code Rudy10 and 10% of what you get a loan of will go to me, and I need money. I'm in with some really bad people, so use it.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, today my guest is Rudy.
That's me.
That's Rudy Martinez.
Correct.
There you go.
Sir Rudy Martinez.
Sir Rudy Martinez. He's actually knighted. You've been knighted, right?
I've been knighted at least 3 times.
Okay. 3 different countries. And actually in here with us off camera is his wonderful wife, Priscilla. She just waved to us. So hello. I'll probably bring her in for some stuff.
And she's also my publicist. So if anything in here gets a little too edgy, she'll come in and stop this interview immediately.
She's taking some notes. So I'm a little nervous. I'm not going to lie. Welcome, dude.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
Yeah, for sure. My first question is, why did you want to be on the podcast?
Well, I just thought what you were doing here, Felix, was great on the podcast. I liked a lot of your episodes, and I thought it was just missing something. It just needed that next level, and I thought, hey, Rudy, you're an A-lister in Escondido, so right. If you come on in and you help this guy's business and podcast just go to number 1 on Apple Podcasts, then
that's what I'm going.
That's your good deed for 2020.
There you go. You waited this long for the good deed.
I waited this long. I'm very last minute, but here I am. So, guys, but seriously, I thought, I like what you do and how you talk to people. I thought, so you're worthy of me. And no, but seriously, yeah, I guess I'm just a big fan of what you do and how you talk to people, and I think you're a very good interviewer, and it's more like a conversation than an interrogation.
Thanks, man.
Despite the fact that it looks like there's been several beheadings in this room.
Yeah. I had my friend Corey. He sat down and he's like, "Oh, yo, I don't like this." I was like, "What?" He's like, "Looks like I'm about to be interrogated." Yeah. I was like, "Oh, it's for aesthetics, bro.
Yeah,
don't worry about it."
It's like Middle Eastern chic. It's like a winter Isis vibe.
Yeah, for sure. So we actually don't know each other.
No, we don't.
It's crazy to me though, how comfortable you are right now. I knew of you in high school because you were part of the group that just in my opinion, just didn't really care about high school, or you guys just wanted to have fun and hang out with your friends. I knew some of you guys, Daniel. Big shout out to Daniel Pablo.
Yep.
Two first names. Always thought that was so dope. But yeah, it kind of seemed like you guys just didn't really. You guys were just hanging out all the time.
Yep. Yeah,
How was school
true.
for you?
School was, I think, my first 2 years of high school were pretty, I guess, normal. I wasn't really part of that non-caring group yet until my junior year of high school. And then, so the first 2 years were, I still kind of didn't care, but it was, I guess, quietly I did care.
Yeah.
And then junior year, senior year, I definitely just didn't care. But I did okay. I mean, I did okay though. I wasn't gonna not graduate.
Right.
Like towards the end, there was a rumor started by the counselors that I might not graduate. But no, but I was doing okay. But I think my junior year, I definitely just like dropped the ball in school and said I'm just gonna act like I don't give a shit about anything.
Right.
And it failed a lot of classes. So I had to make up for that senior year. So as much as I didn't care senior year, I just, again, quietly did care because I did want to graduate.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, but other than that, I mean, high school was fun. I think it was an interesting time. There was a lot of us around. It was a big group of friends at the time, and looking back, that was almost 10 years ago now, and how much smaller that group of friends has become. Which is I think what happens with everybody. You leave school with this giant crowd, and now there's like 3 of you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think. Yeah, but yeah, I think it is interesting that you and I have kind of always known of each other and ran around in the same circles, and now here we are officially meeting for the first time.
Good to meet you, man.
Yeah, great. And I'm sure it is, but.
So what I meant by didn't care, I just feel like you guys. I was always a person that was like, what will people think about me?
Yeah.
What. I'm a football player. Like I have to be, which looking back now, I'm like, dude,
yeah,
you're in high school. ASB is not a career. You're not getting a scholarship in football or volleyball. You're a 5'6" Mexican dude. Like I'm not 5'6". I'm like 5'10" on a good day.
He's 6 feet, ladies.
Yeah.
Trust me.
Anyway. Yeah. I always cared. And I always saw groups like that where you guys would always just mess around and stuff. And then I had, Maria and Daniel in one of my, Spanish classes.
Okay.
And I was like, dude, Daniel's so funny. And he's just like, he's so smart. He's kind of like an artistic dude. Mm-hmm. Artistic. But he was just kind of like chilling. And I was like, man, I was just this like depressed, like tense kid. Like, what am I doing? So seeing that, I was always like, man, I wish I didn't care. But you hit me up and you were like, dude, love what you do. I was like, thanks, man. I was a little out of it, a little tired.
I was definitely out of it.
Yeah. You're like, love to be on the pod sometime.
If Felix was out of it, then I was off. I was off of it.
Sorry, I'm gonna put my money on here.
No, it's fine. Jeez, man.
Yeah, I know, right?
Was that what I'm getting paid at the end of this?
Yeah. Yep. So, anyway, this is the goal.
Babe, you might get lunch today.
It's so bad. It's so bad. What happened after high school? I knew of the high school Rudy, but I'm always like, people always kind of pop up, and I'm like, dude, oh damn, I remember this guy.
Yeah.
So tell me about kind of your life leading up to now.
So after high school, I was working at a 7-Eleven. So
nice.
That was fun. And
did you ever get robbed?
I did. I was robbed at gunpoint.
No way.
Yeah.
How was that?
The guy didn't enjoy me.
He what?
The guy didn't enjoy that I was kind of being a sarcastic asshole at the time. But again, I think that was kind of goes back to like high school, like whereas I guess we didn't care, but like it was just, I think a lot of time my sarcasm came out of probably something deeper and more meaningful.
That's what we're to.
Yeah. So no, but I mean, at the end of the day, it was pretty surprising and frightening, you know, and so that wasn't great. And then that store I worked at where I was robbed a few times actually. I was only there for one of them, or I was there for two of them, but I was in the back the second time it happened. And then, you know, I came out there and then my coworker was like, I ran the alarm. How come you didn't come out here? And I just, you know, I had my headphones in. So, you know,
my God.
You know, it's why you're not allowed to wear headphones at work, guys.
Yeah, maybe.
But so I could have come out to a crime scene.
Damn.
But yeah, I mean, so that, you know, that was fun. And then, so I was kind of overworking there, like a dead end job, you know.
Yeah.
But I was young, so I didn't think my life was over. So I tried going back to school. I did the whole Palomar thing, and it was just not for me. College is, I think school in general just wasn't for me.
Right.
Some people, I know, like I had friends that said they enjoyed learning, and some people are just good at school. I think just good at the work, good at tests, and you know, and where are they now, guys? Here I am on a podcast. So, but
He made it. I don't know about you guys.
so I don't know about you guys, but no, yeah. So I tried Palomar, and it just, I couldn't do it. I think in high school, you know, you're kind of held accountable. The teachers are like trying to get you to do decent enough to get out of there for, you know, for numbers and all that. It's a scam, but, yeah. And then whereas in college, you pay your money and they don't even know your first name. Nope. So, and for me, I think that was like, you know, like the one day I didn't show up to school, and then I walked into class expecting to be like, "Oh, where were you, Mr. Martinez?" And I just sat down, and the guy didn't even look me in the eye, and I was like, "Wow,
Yeah.
I'm a legend. I'm immortal. I can do whatever I want."
Exactly.
So no, but I think, yeah, I didn't have the drive for it, and you know, and so I stopped going, and I kept working.
How long did you go for?
I went probably for like 3 months. 2 or 3 months.
Dang.
It doesn't mean I was doing very good. I was just going.
Yeah.
Just say I was a college student, community college student.
I think a lot of people do that. And you said before you keep going, you said I did the whole Palomar thing because for those of you that don't live in Escondido, didn't really grow up in Escondido, that's what you do is you go to high school, you didn't get into college, I'll just go to Palomar. And it's like, I'll just go to Palomar.
Yeah.
Where I think, honestly, I had professors in Cal State San Marcos that taught at Palomar. Yeah. So I think it's a great thing, but some people look at that as just like, well, that's what's going to make me successful, I guess.
Yeah.
Where it's not really like you have friends that said, oh, I love learning, or I really want to I want that college experience, or I want to move on. Some people just do the Palomar thing. And we have so many of those people that think that that's the route they have to go to.
Yeah.
And it's like, no.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so, I mean, and I did have a few friends that did go to actual college, like not actual, but they went to universities. They went, you know, to California colleges or university and stuff like that. And, you know, they graduated, and, you know, most of them have done pretty well for themselves. You know, right. I find, just for me, and I think a lot of people find too, like a lot of the people that went to college, you know, it's the big joke, and you leave school and you're doing what you didn't even go to school for. Yeah. So,
me?
Yeah. So, yeah. And I think I saw that, and then I had an uncle too who went to school, and he went to school for something completely different. Ended up becoming a deputy sheriff. Damn. Which you don't need a college degree for. You can just apply.
Right.
You just need to be 18.
Right.
And you can hold a gun.
Well, that's a different subject. So, but yes. Shout out to your uncle.
We're getting deep. No, but he works in the jail, so he's not he's not out in the streets committing crimes, probably, but yeah, so I think just with that, and then just seeing a lot of my friends coming out of school and they don't know what to do, or they're getting jobs and doing things that you probably didn't have to go to school for. I think, I think a degree does help. And I think if you can do it, then congratulations. I couldn't do it. So, it's not like I'm bragging, like I'm better than anybody. Right. I was never going to be able to do school. Just didn't have the focus or drive to do it. But I think the combination of seeing that and, with my uncle, I just realized, like, yeah, I'm just not a college guy. So I just kept working, and I would, I stuck around at 7-Eleven for like 2.5 years. My uncle got me a job at one of his companies. I was there for about a year, and then I went to I was working in a warehouse for like 3.5 years. I became a warehouse manager, so I made it.
Nice.
And
I made it.
And then from there, I went from another job for about a year, and then I'm at my current job for a year and that I've been here at a year and a half now, and I'm in like a supply chain accounting position, and I really like it. It's easy, and I get paid decently well, and I make a little more than people that I know that went to college and are paying off student debt.
Yeah. Yep.
But yeah, but I mean, I worked for 8 or 9 years to get there. But I mean, I'm pretty young, guys. I'm 27, so I think it's a good company, and there is like a future there somewhat. So for now, I think it's a good thing to do. So I mean, mainly after high school, I was just working and drinking excessively. And
so you were doing the college thing.
Yeah. College thing.
Exactly.
Basically, isn't that what you guys do? Just drink?
Well, yeah, I didn't, but yeah.
Well, that's your fault.
I also was at Cal State San Marcos, so I was like still living at home and like kind of doing the commuter thing. Yeah. We'd go to Players when we were 21, and then
perfect.
In a month, I was like, oh, this this is awful,
Yeah.
dude.
No, yeah.
I had my wild nights though. But what's crazy is that I always look for parallels in my life. Whenever I'm having a conversation with someone, I'm like, okay, well, this person didn't go to college, and I've met people who are like, you didn't go to college?
Yeah.
Okay, and I'm just like, that doesn't matter. While I was going to college and playing it safe, you were getting robbed at gunpoint.
That's right.
You were, I mean, not while, but like at the same kind of stages in our lives.
At least once a week while Felix was in college, I was being robbed at gunpoint.
Yeah, exactly.
So
I was out studying and stuff, and
So-
you were just like,
So
gun in your
point a
face.
gun at me, guys, and I'm immune to it now.
Anyway, oh man, I just lost my train of thought. No, I got it. Yeah, it's crazy, these parallels of like, I had a friend come back one time from the army, and he was like, that was a waste of 4 years.
Yeah.
And then I've had other people go to the military, and they're like, I loved every second of it, and now I'm a cop, or now I'm, or now I work behind a desk in the military, and I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
We get caught up in these kind of, this is what I have to do, and this is what, damn, I should have gone to college. Damn, I should have. Whereas you can still go back if you find something better within your company. There's no real game plan. But something I thought about this morning, I watched the video, and maybe I'll post it if I can find it again. But I watched the video of two dudes on Omegle, and one of them is just this like, he's got this lion mane and like colored eyed, like good looking dude. And there's another dude just sitting on the laptop, and he's like, damn, bro, you're the hottest guy I've ever seen. And the guy was like, thank you, bro, I appreciate it. And like the caption was something like, it was a funny video, and someone was like, oh, we need to normalize this. And I was like, all right, cool. But then I thought about it. I was like, dude, I gas my friends up all the time. I'm like, dude, you look good. What's up?
Yeah.
Dope ass shoes. And then I thought about, this is how my brain works. And then I thought about like, what actually like makes you a man? Like, when did I tell myself, oh, I'm a man now? You know what I mean? So I'm going to ask you that question. When did you, with all these life experiences, after you got like robbed at gunpoint every single day of your life, when did you like think, oh, I'm a man now? Was there ever a time? Was it when you got married? Was it? That's a weird question, I know, but I
don't think it's happened yet. Honestly,
Really?
I'm not a tough guy, or like, I don't have any like machismo or anything like that, something like that. I've always, I don't know. I guess a few years ago when my younger brother had his first son, and my brother was, we'll probably get into it, but he was, my brother struggled with drugs and stuff like that, all his, for years,
Right.
up until, recently when he passed. But, and so my nephew's mom was kind of just not in a good spot in her life either. And they just, my mom and I and my sisters were kind of caring for this new baby. And, I don't know. And then him and my nephew and I to this day, we're super close, and I consider him, my own child to a point. I think when I think of what, maybe not that made me a man, but I think when I think of probably the more mature thing to do, because I think saying I'm a man, like, it's like, what does that mean?
Exactly.
There's plenty of men out there, and
Exactly.
they ain't shit. Like,
right, but they say they're shit.
But they say they're shit because but like I think that's what I'm most proud of, I guess, of myself, is stepping up and helping him. And to this day, he stays with me, throughout the week, and I help care for him, and his brother. And so I think if something was going to make me a man, I guess it would be stepping up and helping my mom and my family with that. And
Right.
I guess that's something I think about a lot. Not many people maybe would do that, maybe not to the extent that I think I've done it. But yeah, I guess that's what I would consider, but not a manly thing to do, but it just something that I did that I've done and I continue to do that I'm very proud of. And
Right.
I consider it. If I look back at someone's like, "Oh, what are you proud of doing?" I think that's probably at the top of near the top of my list, if not the top.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess, yeah. But when was I a man? I don't know. That term
It's weird.
it's just weird. It's
right?
like, why? It's like, okay, what? And then you ask a woman, like, well, so when did you know you were a woman?
Exactly.
Like,
She's like, I'm not.
like, I knew, yeah, like, yeah, right. It's like, oh, like, sorry, bro, or sis. I don't know, but yeah, I guess it's this is the whole manliness thing. But I think that's an issue with guys our
Yeah.
age, especially.
100%.
You have to be a man and be a man. You know, you can't cry, you can't watch The Notebook 3 times a week. Like, not that I heard that or anything. But
yeah, I'm not a big Notebook guy, but yeah,
I'm leaving.
I was thinking about, and we'll get into that too, the movie thing. But I was thinking about that because I saw another thing I saw was Harry Styles. He was on the cover of this guy Harry Styles.
I love him.
Yeah, he's a dime. But he was on a cover of some magazine and he was wearing a dress. And and people were like, "Oh my god!" My first thing was, "Why is he wearing a dress?"
Yeah,
you know, I've never woken up with the inclination of being like, "I'm gonna try on a skirt today."
You will,
you know. Maybe I will one day, but I was just kind of like, "Huh, that's weird." And then I moved on with my day. But then people were having all this conversation like, "Oh, it's the end of America." You know, the people on the far right and the people on the far left were like, "Yeah, you challenge norms." And I'm like,
he just wore a dress. That's how I saw it. Like, he just wore a dress. It's cool, dude.
Yeah, congrats. And
you look good in one.
Yeah.
It's not that I wouldn't wear one. I wouldn't look good in it. So I'm not going to ruin dresses like that for America.
You never know, man. That might be what we need to heal this divide.
Yeah. That might be what makes me a man when I wear the dress. Actually, that might be the moment. When I come back next time, if you can get me, I'm very busy. Yeah. But and you ask me that again, I'll say I wore a dress, and that's when I knew I was a man. You
won't say anything. Just unzip this long unzip it. Coat.
I'm gonna come in the dress, and I don't want you to comment on it. I'm just gonna be wearing it.
That's another thing. Should I comment if I see a guy in a dress? Am I gonna be like, "Cool dress," or
you just say, "You're so brave"?
Ignore, or "You're so brave," or
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm confused about times now, man.
Yeah, who knows what? I mean, I'll probably be canceled after this, but that's fine, guys.
See, I thought about that too, where I'm like, what am I gonna say when I get canceled? If I get canceled, which I don't think I mean, by no means am I popular enough, but I'm like, is someone gonna? Well, obviously you are, but is someone gonna be like, "Oh, you said this on your thing," Like, I'm never going to be able to run for office, and that's fine.
Yeah.
And even if I do, I'm going to own up to this stuff. Yo, remember when I said this? Like, like Arnold? Did you ever watch Pumping Iron? Did you ever watch that one?
I've seen it, yeah.
Yeah, and he's talking about, like, how working out is better than coming. I'm like, dude, why didn't his opposition ever bring that up? Like, yo, this is the guy, is he going to treat government like coming, like, something like
missed opportunity, man. Jeez,
and he was there for what, 2 terms or something, and
he was there for a long time.
I'm like, dude, that's crazy. But well, let's go ahead and take a break. I gotta take a tinky, but we're gonna come back and I want to talk about movies with you.
Perfect. Love to.
Boho, Chic, other fun stuff. Picnicked by Anna Lee. I'm gonna show you this real quick, Rudy. This is a perfect date night, a perfect birthday celebration thing. Picnicked is a picnicking business by friend of the podcast, Anna Lee. She shows up, sets up this extravagant picnic, and you can even do a photo shoot there, which is pretty dope. Spice up that gram. What do you think? Would you ever do that for your lady?
Yeah, I would love to. If she would behave, I would absolutely reach out and do this.
So
unfortunately, she's a monster, and she will not get this.
So Priscilla, we actually have Priscilla here in the studio. I want you to look at these real quick. Just come over. This is amazing. I think it's amazing. I actually never heard of this. I guess it's big in San Diego, but what Anna Lee does is she picks a spot, or you pick a spot. For example, Sunset Cliffs. That's a big one. Oh, dude.
I always
she's like,
about picnics.
She's like, I better be good. So if you decide to do it, Rudy, if she ends up being good, and you use code ThisLife, you get 10% off of your picnic. So yeah, hit her up.
We're doing it.
They're doing it.
Well, the money I'm making from this podcast will definitely do it. I'm getting paid, right? This is a paid gig.
You have the beer right there. So their Instagram is @picnic, PICNICKED _ code ThisLife gets you 10% off. Back to the show. So people have said that you're a major cinephile. I think that's what it's called, right? Cinephile.
Yeah, that's what I've been labeled.
You love,
among other things.
You love movies, other files. What's this obsession about movies about?
It started when I was young.
Dude, you're killing. I'm not even drunk, dude. You're fucking killing me. All right, go for it.
Yeah, no. When I was young, I was I guess I was kind of a shy kid when I was little, and I was definitely not a daredevil. My brother and I, we were like kind of polar opposites in that. My brother was very outdoorsy and was jumping off of roofs and
skateboarding,
skateboarding and doing backflips off of stuff, and excuse me. And I was more of a, I was indoors and on the computer watching TV, and I remember we had an uncle that lived with us, and excuse me again. Pacifico.
Goddamn.
Pacifico, guys. Sponsor of the show. I had an uncle that lived with us, and he watched a lot of movies. And, I just, for some reason, when I would watch them with him and I'd be inside, and I don't know, something just clicked to me when I watched them. I think just the imagination, because I think I was a pretty creative kid, and I had a big imagination, and I liked telling stories, I guess.
Right.
And so when I'd see these stories on a screen, and sometimes there were things that I was obsessed with, and growing up, you can see him watching movies like my uncle was showing me a lot of movies that probably shouldn't have been watching at 5 or 6, like Predator and Alien and Pulp Fiction and stuff. Right. And so that kind of scarred me.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm drinking during this podcast. But
to forget, I drink to forget.
I drink to forget. Yeah. But and then I think really what started it was when I saw Jurassic Park when I was a kid.
Really? So, that was the movie?
Yeah, because as a kid, I was obsessed with dinosaurs. Like I had like a million dinosaur toys, and I could name them all. And and I saw Jurassic Park for the first time, and I remember just like it destroyed me.
The first one, or
the first one?
Okay,
the first one. Yeah, it had already been out because I was born in '93, and the movie came out in '93. So like I was probably like 4 or 5 when I saw it. Like I remember like seeing it, and then I remember seeing like the sequels in theaters, and I think just like to this day, like those movies have always been my favorites. But I think but since I was a kid, it's just been this obsession of mine, and like remembering actors' names and names of directors and writers, like just stuff like I mean, like you ask my wife, she could, if she's annoyed, we'll watch something and I'm just like naming,
a fun fact.
Yeah, I'm like that pain in the ass,
Honestly,
did you know?
I am.
Did you know?
I am too. You
didn't know
Top Gun was filmed in San Diego?
Yeah.
Little known fact, no one knows about it. Yeah,
you didn't know that? You didn't know that?
Yeah, dude. I'm like, dude, that guy actually played blah blah blah. Yeah. And did you know that this director actually?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
That's how I am. So it's just been like that's like the only information I can retain, basically, is movie facts. Which sucks for everything else.
Yeah.
I suck at everything else.
Who do you think is the best director?
I think my favorite is probably Spielberg. Easy. I think he just made the most. Like he's made a majority of some of my favorite movies.
Right.
But I'm also like David Fincher is a really good one. I love him.
Doesn't he makes those weird movies?
He makes like Seven, Gone Girl,
like
Curious Case of Benjamin Button. Like he makes them. They're pretty dark, which is why I drink.
No. Just because that guy was young and then he was old. And
I can't do it. Why is he aging backwards? Give me a shot. Dude. But
my favorite line in that movie was when he goes, "I'm 7, but I look a lot older."
Yeah.
I don't know why I was like, I remember in like middle school, I was like, I looked around and I was like,
oh, just me, huh?
Okay,
just me.
Sorry guys. Yeah, but it's crazy though how that lady slept with that baby in a way.
Yeah,
isn't that weird?
Yeah, that's it's problematic today. I'm surprised that hasn't been brought up. Why hasn't Benjamin Button been canceled yet?
Cancel Benjamin Button.
If you guys are gonna be canceling things, then come on.
It's disgusting. How do you feel about Star Wars?
I love it.
Yeah,
I love Star Wars. That was another thing, I was a kid when I saw it, so I think it just stuck in me, and then among other things. That's why I drink.
No. Anyway.
But was that funny?
That's good. I feel like people are gonna be like, what?
Is my rape story funny too?
Anyway,
just kidding, guys.
Movies.
Just kidding, guys. Nothing happened to me as a kid.
So do you buy DVDs still and Blu-rays and stuff?
Yes, we have it.
Really?
I have a few. A few hundred.
Is it out of control, Priscilla?
Yes.
Yeah.
Added by shelf.
Really?
Yeah.
One shelf.
For now, I've stopped recently.
Do you think that dates back to like some sort of wanting to be out of because I'm the same way. Like I'm 100% when you were like, I have this obsession about movies.
Yeah.
I was the kind of a quiet kid when I was younger, and I was like, dude, what if dinosaurs were walking around right now?
Yeah.
And then I would find myself like in kindergarten just being like, and like looking around like,
Yeah.
where would the dinosaur come in, or where would, or like I wish I had a fucking lightsaber, you know,
Right.
as like a little boy, and it was always because I wasn't interested in school. I was not interested in people.
Yeah.
I had a lot of anxiety as a child, so that was like my happy place where I'd be like, dude, I'd be on the swings and like acting like I was on like a pod racer.
Oh yeah, right. From
episode 1.
Yeah, because it came out pretty much. Yeah, I was 6 when it came out, so you were.
I was in kindergarten. I think.
2.
Yeah, I was. I was in kindergarten,
Yeah.
and I was just like, dude, I'm on a freaking pod racer right now, and even now I'm like, my brain is so weird and wired in such a cinematic way where, I mean, obviously it works with what I do now, but that was kind of my way of just kind of escaping like people.
Yeah,
I remember
absolutely.
I was a cynic when I was a kid. I was like, why would you say that? I remember, I hate when people say cha 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 in between happy birthday.
Oh yeah.
Ever since I was a kid. Like, I remember the first time I heard that, this girl, I don't remember her name, but she had curly hair and she was really loud and annoying. And I was like, why are you saying that? And I was in kindergarten. Like, dude, who was, everyone was just like, happy birthday to, you know, which is it's a basic song.
Yeah.
And then I looked at that girl and I was like, stop.
You ruined it.
No one's asking you to do cha-cha-chas. Like,
Right.
you're not putting a spin on it. It's happy birthday. Stop. So, and that was going through my head when I was a kid.
Yeah.
So then I kind of escaped with all that like fantasy crap.
Yeah.
Was that?
I'd say similar.
Same
Yeah.
for you?
I've always been kind of a. I guess people may have called me an asshole in the past. I'm very. I speak what's on my mind a lot, and it usually doesn't always work, you know, to the way I think it is. But yeah, I was always something that commented on things that if I didn't agree or understand or get it, I was just like,
Same, dude.
I was just like, why? Like, why are you doing that? And you're wrong for doing things like that.
When were you born?
93.
What month?
May. So I'm a Gemini. May 25th. Gemini, I guess. Right, babe?
I told him that. He was a Gemini.
He's like, what? Okay, cool.
What does that mean? Excuse me. But yeah.
Yeah, because what I've heard is like Sagittarius, which is me, we're like good and like loyal and all that stuff, but then we're also the type of people that like say, oh, I'm sorry that you're crying for something that I said because you were wrong.
Yeah.
Which,
Wow.
yeah. I'm like, oh, you were wrong. That sucks. And that's why you're upset. So I was recently called also a sociopath.
Wow.
No.
That explains the brick wall, the stone wall in here.
Oh, yeah. You guys are dying.
Yeah.
So
I figured that.
no, but I thought about it too. And I was like, now I'm questioning everything. Because this was told to me like last weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And I was at a wedding, a COVID safe wedding. And I saw someone and I was like, yo, and like I did some like inside joke, and my friend was like, dude, you're a sociopath. And I was like, what do you mean? And she's like, you like do things to like, I was like, it's called being friendly. She's like, no, you do things to like, to cater to like other people just to do them. And I was like, no, I'm friendly. And then, dude, the whole wedding, I was like, I would have an interaction, be like, yo, oh my God, I'm a sociopath. And then I started thinking about my life where I'm like, I have conversations with people, and you were saying like, oh, you're a good interviewer. Like obviously we're having a conversation now.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, am I doing this? Like, do I care about this? Like, so I just had this existential, and I've always been like that.
Yeah.
And like the one way to not think about that was watching movies.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you were saying you're an asshole. Like, is that what you're kind of trying to escape by watching movies, or?
My own asshole?
Yeah.
Yes. No. No, I think just, I think I have very little patience with people in general. And, you know, but I also understand too that a lot of times, most of the time, it's not anyone else's fault why I'm so easily irritated or angered or annoyed by why people do other things.
Right.
And just because I don't understand them doesn't mean that they're wrong, even though you're wrong. But
Same.
but yeah, I think just, you know, and I growing up, you know, when I was younger, I was very isolated, not isolated, but I just liked being to myself. I liked being alone. I'm comfortable alone and just sitting on my ass and watching a movie.
Yeah.
And movies are like kind of like an escape from whatever is annoying me, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just, you know, so, you know, I would spend summers during school, like just at home watching TV while other kids were out playing and farting around. And I was just in my room watching TV
movies.
all day, watching movies, you know, and
Hell yeah.
so yeah, I was labeled, I was like the hermit in the family because we'd have like family parties and I'd just be upstairs, like I'd be like at my dad's house upstairs watching movies in the room, like, and people are downstairs, when they're drunken antics, and I'm just like, I was a kid, so
if someone's trying to join, they can come up and join.
Yeah, like join this party.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
No, but yeah, so I think it's just I've always felt more comfortable, like just in a theater watching a movie or in my room watching a movie. Like that's honestly what makes me like. Besides my wife, love you. But watching movies is really what makes me happy. Like it genuinely brings me joy and happiness. Like even if it's a bad movie, like I'm just like I just love not giving a shit for like 90 minutes to 2 hours and just watching something and escaping. Yeah, I'm happy after.
Is that like an addiction, you think?
Probably.
Do you have an addictive personality?
I might. I think I might. We have more of these. No, I think no. I don't think I do, but I guess most addicts don't think they're addicts either. So
that's true.
How would I know?
We're getting into it now. What has? Because you said you were kind of impatient with people. What has being married taught you?
That. Nothing really, honestly. I need to change. I really need to change, babe. I'm sorry. Take me back, babe. No, but no. I mean, it's definitely taught me that I've committed my life with her, and that means that I think with any relationship, there's give and take, and you have to understand. I think both people have to understand that there's things about you that sometimes have to change. I know everybody always, a common thing is like, oh, you shouldn't be with someone that wants to change you. But I think there's definitely traits when we're alone and like when we're single and alone that don't work in a relationship. You can't, I can't just, tell her leave because I want to watch a movie by myself for 6 hours. It doesn't work, and, so, and my impatience, and because I have little patience, people, most of the time I am incorrect, even though I believe I'm not. But I mean, like, I'm very short tempered and, like things like being late, like when people are late to shit, like that's like I'm ready to destroy their family.
Damn. Like, dude, I was late to this thing. I was putting all this stuff up.
Felix, call your parents. Call your parents, Felix. No.
Mom, you guys are dead.
Mom, leave the country, Mom. Leave it. But yeah, like, cause okay, like, so tying into movies. So like I used to, when the world was open still.
Yeah.
When theaters were open still. Rest in peace.
I miss that, dude.
So do I. But so I would kind of organize these, a bunch of my friends. Let's go, because my friends would, they watch movies sometimes. They're rookies, but they watch them. But so we'd all go to the movies, right? And I would get all the tickets because I was like on top of like when the tickets for like big movies are releasing, because so I want to get good seats, so I'd get them. And then let's all meet at the movies, and I'm there like 10 minutes before. Yeah. 10 minutes before, and I have friends showing up like during the previews, like as the credits, and I'm just like in my seat, or I'm like I feel the heat, like I'm getting a little sweaty up here, and I'm just like I'm gonna bash their head in, like the disrespect right now to this, the disrespect, and
to the director,
to the director, like you guys, how many months these people slaved, to bring you this 90 minutes of joy.
Yep.
But yeah, just like things like that, and so yeah, with my friends it's one thing, fuck them, but but with my wife, I had to, but with my wife, I but I have to, when you're in a relationship, you have to understand like those traits, just because that's how you've been your whole life doesn't mean it doesn't give you an excuse to be that way for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
So when you're with someone, you have to, you have to figure out what works and what doesn't, and it's not fair to her for me to be pissed off because she's 5 minutes late or a couple minutes late, running late, but hurry up, babe. But
Which I never have.
She hasn't. And
are you punctual too?
Yes.
That's good.
to a point?
There you go.
She's gotten better. I'm a very punctual person, and being late is it's probably my number one pet peeve. People that are like if like we're running late to something, like I'm like stressed.
Yeah.
And like I want to be at the party when no one's even there yet. The DJ hasn't even shown up. The music's not even on. There isn't even beer there. But if they say 7:00, I need to be there at 6:55. Like and
you're Mexican, right?
Yeah.
Dude, that must be rough. for you.
100% rough.
Because they say 7 it doesn't start till 8:30.
Yeah,
if that, maybe 9.
Yeah, and and that's why I'll tell my friends, like, if something's like at 7, like at 9 o'clock, I'm like, oh yeah, it starts at 8:30, guys, or 8 o'clock.
Yeah, and
then they'll be there by 10 maybe. But if I don't tell them that, they'll be there at midnight.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's just something that I just again, I can't. It's like when you can't control what people do. Yeah. But in my head, I'm like, you guys are just not correct at all with what you're doing in your life. You're like, what went wrong? What went so wrong in your life that you feel the need to be late to everything? Like, what happened? So
when you guys started dating, was that like a thing? She just said she's punctual, but I know that's always hard for me.
Yeah, I think it was kind of a thing. It wasn't. She was never bad. She was never like. She was always pretty good. There was, there's time. I think I'm very like, cause I like, for me, like, I'm a guy, so I can wake up if I have to be somewhere at 10 o'clock in the morning, I'll wake up at 9:30 and I'm ready to go. And I'm ready in 10 minutes, smelling like gas or not. Yeah. I'm ready to go. And, for her, she has to get up 4 hours earlier and, to put, her face on and literally put her face on. She's an android, but I ordered her.
Mail order bride.
Yeah. Mail order bride. Yeah, she came in clutch.
Nice.
But yeah, so I think, it was never a big issue with her, but I've definitely had to learn, like, it takes her time to get ready. And just because we're not going to be there 10 minutes before doesn't mean like the world's going to end. So I have to learn, like, it's not just because I want to be there 10 minutes early doesn't mean there's no issue if we're not there. Like, if I'm late to something, the world is not going to end. Yeah. Even though it is. Yeah. But so I've had to learn to temper that and I'm still working on it. It's still an issue. So but like literally, so what I do now, like if she's getting ready, I'll just sit there and start watching something on TV, and like, I kind of like I'm gone. Like I'm not paying attention. I'm gonna escape that. So like and then when she's like, oh, like I'm almost ready, then I'm like, oh, what time is it? I'm like, oh, fucking A. And then I'm back. Yeah, like, God damn it, but yeah. So that I think that's something that I worked on. But yeah, like I said, I think when you're in a relationship, you have to understand there's certain things about you when you're single that you just can't continue doing if you want it to work sometimes. I think, and I think it's certain things, not big, like you can't change who you are. You can't change who you are in your core for someone. Right. Because then it's not you that they're dating. They're dating some Frankenstein monster that, you're trying to be.
Android.
That's why I got her, because I know I can't change. I'm terrible and I will never change. So why bother? I'll just build her.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's hard when you're an adult. I find it that I nitpick, at least up to now. I'm getting a little better at it, but I feel like your brain works like mine because I'm just like wired a certain way. Like for me, a huge pet peeve is the way people eat. If someone is like, dude, I started dating a girl a while back, and she was just like the way she ate. I was like, and kind of the chips thing. Hey guys, when you eat chips, and this is the right way to do it. There is a right way to do it. You close your lips so the sound doesn't travel. Because if you go, you're ruining everyone else's time.
Right.
People, at the movies, dude. Oh. That's the way. When it gets quiet in between like a scene or something, or like after a preview, and you hear some old lady going,
yeah,
dude, close your lips. So that's one of those things where I'm like, or like, just ever since I was a kid, I was like that, where it was like if someone's chewing a certain way and I don't like it, the whole time I'm just gonna be like eating my food and staring right at them because I'm like, you're chewing wrong, you're not doing it right. So I've kind of had to like kind of check my skin, and because it makes my skin crawl.
Mine's when syrup touches food that it's not meant to touch.
Okay, that's some different shit.
Like,
but I get that.
Like that's like that. Like when
bacon. Really? Like syrup and bacon is bomb, dude.
I can't. Like for me, sweet and like salty, like it's just not meant to be together. So like we've gone to breakfast with friends, right? And like I will literally watch the syrup drip from their French toast and go to the egg, and I'll see them eat the egg with the syrup on it, and I'm like, your entire bloodline needs to be ended immediately. It needs to be done. You're incorrect, and something went wrong in the breeding with you, and it's not your fault. But you just can't be fixed. So you need to go out. You need to go behind the shed, and I'm gonna put you down. I'm gonna put you down.
So what should they do with the egg?
They need to throw it out. It needs to be removed immediately. You need to be getting that on separate plates. That's really the only way to do it. You need to have your pancakes or French toast or waffles on a separate plate and if you're gonna be doing that syrup shit on the other food, then you need to stay home and not go out and eat. Because going out to eat is, that's a luxury. It's a luxury. Yeah. And if you're a barbarian, then stay home. So
no one's trying to see that. You know what would be funny is if you and I went to breakfast and someone put syrup on everything and then just ate it and went,
oh jeez.
Oh, dude, that would be a scene. Just flip the table.
They would walk out to a car bomb immediately. I'm telling you.
A car bomb. Oh my god.
I would end their bloodline immediately.
Oh boy. All right. We're going to take another break. We got to cool down.
I really have to tell people that.
Express yourself. Rudy, do you like pins?
I love them.
Do you like stickers?
I love those even more, actually.
Do you like hats?
I'm wearing one.
He's wearing one. So all of the things I just named, you can get at Express Yourself Co. Find them on Instagram at Express Yourself Co. They've got pins. They've got stickers. They've got cool little, I would say, stocking stuffers. If you're still looking for a stocking stuffer, I usually don't expect things in my stocking, but then when I get them, I'm like stoked. And it's usually like gum or like something that's like cool, but it's not that cool. If you get this in your stocking, it's going to be pretty amazing. What do you think, Rudy?
Yeah, these are really cool things. I see some Star Wars stuff in here.
Star Wars, big Star Wars guy.
Big Star Wars fan here. Scooby-Doo looks like. Yeah, no, this looks some great stocking stuffers. Like Felix said, listen to the man, buy this stuff, and if you you can use his code that he's about to give you. But if you use my code, you'll get 30% off.
What's your code?
You'll get it at the end of the show. Listen, wait till the end.
That's not a guarantee, but yeah, listen to the end of the show. Maybe he'll give a code. Yeah. My code is ThisLife for 10% off of your purchase. Their website is expressyourselfco.com. That's express YOSELFCO.com. We're gonna segue into something a little bit more serious. We were talking about addiction earlier, and actually, when you hit me up, you told me. Or I told you, actually, I was like, your brother Daniel. Mm-hmm. I was like, dude, I'm sorry. Obviously, he passed away. You talked about it a little bit earlier. But I knew him in middle school.
Yeah.
And he was another one that just didn't give a shit. And he was so funny.
Yeah.
He was so funny. And like, a lot of the stuff he did was inappropriate.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, we're middle schoolers.
He would have been canceled immediately on this podcast.
100%. But yeah, then he was another one that just kind of disappeared and kind of did his own thing. You were saying earlier he had some demons.
Yeah.
Did that start early? And did you guys like notice it or?
Yeah, I mean, I did especially. Me and Daniel were we were like best friends growing up. Him and I did everything. I mean, we wore the same clothes, for probably way too long.
Yeah. Till we're like 26.
Till just recently. But even now. No, but so I think around the time I think where it started was Daniel got held back in middle school. I think 6th grade he got held back. And
that's when I met him.
Yeah.
He was in my classes.
So he was held back, and a lot of his friends moved forward to the next grade, and they saw each other, but they weren't in the same classes anymore. And I think that angered him a lot. He was held back because he wasn't doing good in school. He was just fucking around. He wanted to be the funny guy.
Yeah.
Which I understand because I was the same way. I want anything for a laugh. That's how I think both of us were. We would do anything, even if it meant failing school.
Yeah.
But I think it started there, and then he was a skateboarder. He was really good at skating. He hung out with a bunch of skaters who were really good at skating, and at that time he hung out with a lot of older kids too. And I think in middle school, probably when he was around, when he was in 8th grade, I think he started smoking weed. And that's kind of when I stopped seeing him a lot. Like he was just like, he had to get up and ready to go on the weekend because they were going to go get high. And,
dang.
And it wasn't an issue. It was, it never is when it starts, right? It's never an issue.
Yeah.
So he, I definitely noticed a change in him. And I know that when he started that, he was like ashamed. Like he was scared for me to find out that he was doing it. And then when I did find out, he was ashamed of it, that I knew. That's what I found out later on from his friends and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was definitely an attitude change. He just didn't care anymore. He was not interested in school at all. He wanted to go, it became less and less about skateboarding too. He was just out. He wanted to get high. And I think for a long time it was just weed. It was, but he was young, getting high, and I mean, I've only smoked weed once in my life.
How was that?
I was really drunk, so don't remember.
Jeez. And you're like, eh.
Yeah. I think it's just something I've never had a desire to do.
Right.
I think I did it that one time, and I was drunk when I was like really drunk when I said I'll do it. But I was like, and this was like 8 years ago.
Yeah.
But I've been drinking for 20 years. But
he's 27, mind
yeah.
you.
No, but yeah. So we definitely did notice. I noticed a change in him, in his attitude and kind of. Yeah, his attitude and his behavior, and then I think we noticed it more and more as time went on. Things were getting, money started going missing in the house. Things were going missing. He wasn't coming home sometimes, and when he was like, it's kind of like a zombie at times. There was a couple times he was like, up all night, didn't sleep, and at first I didn't know, like, I was like 16, 17. I didn't know what any of that was. I just assumed oh, it's weed. Weed fucks you up. But
yeah.
So yeah, I didn't know. And then as time went on, he got worse. He started, and come to find, you kind of find out because he's doing more and more. He's doing anything at this point.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of it was a part of it was people he surrounded himself with. But at the end of the day, it was his decisions, and he chose to do those things. That and me and him kind of split off, and we didn't for years and years we didn't really talk. We didn't get along very well at all. He was like a completely different person to me.
Yeah.
I really didn't like him for a long time. And yeah, so I mean, he from like the time he was 15 or 16 up until before he passed, he was doing drugs.
Damn.
And and then he started getting in trouble. He started going, he was going to juvie already. Then after 18, he was going to jail. Then he was in prison for a few months and just getting into all kinds of trouble. And then it went from hanging out with a bunch of stoner skaters to drug addicts to gang members, and it's just and involving himself in things that he shouldn't have been involved in, obviously, because we weren't like we weren't raised with from like a ghetto family. Like we weren't like my family wasn't like I don't come from a family of gang members, but addiction definitely runs in my family. I have uncles and grandparents who are alcoholics and drug addicts and recovering, and some are just alcohol. I have two grandparents, and one of them's definitely an alcoholic. I mean, they both are, but one of them's like not. He's more. You can be around him. The other one, you really can't.
Right.
But they're at the age now where it's like they're probably not going to stop. They're not going to stop. No. They're in their 70s, and so addiction definitely runs in the family. Drinking is definitely an issue, and in my family, there's a lot of us definitely drink too much. I've definitely drank too much at times. Basically, you have a shitty day at work, or you're pissed off at your girlfriend or boyfriend, and
your wife.
My wife.
It's her fault.
My wife. But no.
Wife.
Yeah. Oh, you love that one, huh, babe? No, but yeah. So, So as time went on, it just escalated with him, and then I think late last year, he was sent to a halfway home, like straight from jail. So he actually got clean for a few months, and he was actually able to come to my wedding clean, which was actually a really big deal to me and my wife and my entire family. Like, it meant a lot because I finally started seeing him come out, like emerging from like the monster that had been like in control of him for so long, and he knew that, and he was, he finally had a clear head, and he was very apologetic for a lot of things he had done and a lot of the pain and problems he had caused, like my whole family. He felt regret for not being there for his kids, and so he was there at the wedding, and he was sober, and he was, he remembered it, and he even told me, and he told my mom, and he's like I really want to go to the wedding. He's like, I want to remember my brother's wedding, and that meant a lot. So he was there, and it meant a lot at the time. He made a speech at my wedding, and it's like one of the funniest things ever. Like at the time it meant a lot, and I think as time has gone, since it's been, my brother died 6 months ago. He died like a few days after his birthday.
6 months already.
Yeah, he died in June, so 5 months. It's been almost 6 months.
Wow.
But yeah, so he was clean. He left the halfway home, and he came back home, and he was doing good for a bit. But then I could start to tell, and I'd already heard that he was starting to kind of go back down the same path, and he had demons, and he tried to fight them, and unfortunately, through those times when he was really into drugs and really in with bad people, he made mistakes, and unfortunately he was lost because of street violence, basically. And it was rough. It was rough, and it just, obviously no one, it's hard for anybody. It doesn't matter who you are, losing a sibling or anyone in your family is always going to be tough. It's still hard on my family. There's definitely still a lot of anger with certain people in my family. I think for me, it was just even more of a reason, like more of a, not a wake up call, but just like more of a clear message. Like I'm glad I never like got into drugs or any of that stuff. And I think, and I wish, but then there's, there's always that regret after someone passes, like, oh, you should have done more. You should have, maybe if I had done this, maybe if I had done that, I, should have, would have, could have,
Right.
And then, but definitely being I'm the oldest of, I don't know, there's six of us, my brother and we have 4 younger sisters. And so when you're the oldest, you kind of feel a responsibility, and and I definitely felt like, maybe I should have been on him more instead of, after him. I should have, tried to be an older brother instead of being an enemy or whatever. Right. I was always so pissed off at him, instead of trying to help him. But again, it's like, but then eventually now I've, accepted like sometimes you just can't help people.
Yeah.
Some people just, they're lost, and sometimes they come back, sometimes they don't. I think you look at numbers of addicts, and how many of them actually come out clean. It's very low. Right. And it's, definitely an environment. You have to make a life change. You can't just not do drugs and hang around the same people, because you're just going to do drugs, and you can't just, you have to make a life change, and he just wasn't ready to do that yet. He hadn't really had to mature for, he was still like a 15, 16-year-old kid. He was 26 when he died, and he hadn't really matured. He was starting to, but yeah, I think, and then when I got the call and we found out what had happened, like I didn't break down and cry. I think because a part of me was always like, I think a part of me had accepted the fact that something like this was probably going to happen based on the choices he had made and the things he was doing. And, it still broke my heart, but it just, I think of my family, like I was probably that had the clearest head. And I didn't really give myself a moment to like break down until probably a couple weeks after it happened. But I mean, like, again, and some of my siblings took it really hard, and they're still taking it hard, and they're still struggling, and there's still a lot of anger, and that's been tough. It's just, obviously the week it happened, it was the hardest time in my family's life, but the months that have followed have been just as difficult, if not more so, just because there's some people are just refusing to kind of leave that dark time and try to move forward, and it's time. There's grief, and grief is, it's insane. There's no right or wrong. I mean, there's a wrong way to go about it, but
it's different for
it's
everyone.
Different for everybody, and people just can't move on and try and find peace. So that's been tough. It's been tough to this day. Really, it's really been tough, and struggling with that with certain people in my family that are they're just not in an emotionally mature place to kind of to move forward and be and live and start living their life. They want to keep living in the pain, right? And maybe that's just their way of holding on to him still. That when he was there, and I understand that, but
I'm sure they're also thinking like, well, what could I have done? I didn't do enough. Like exactly. What you were saying.
Exactly.
I didn't do enough. That kind of reminds me of, my brother and I, same thing. We're kids, and we were inseparable. Mm-hmm. Like we're best buds. And then somewhere along the way, we just, he never really, he didn't do drugs. But somewhere along the way, he just kind of lost himself, and he stopped caring. And he started bodybuilding. And while it wasn't drugs or anything, it kind of became this like addiction of like, he was at the gym all the time, and he would kind of like, he would blow us off for like the gym. And it was like, and we never noticed. It was always like, wow, what an asshole. Yeah. He's ditching us for fucking gym. But then later on, he told me he went through some stuff, and he went through this stint of just like 4 years of things he didn't talk about because he couldn't talk about them because he just was so lost. And I think in every family there is that. There's that person that just for a couple of years just kind of keeps to themselves, and they're probably going through something. He lost one of his best friends, and he told me, he's like, I had no idea how to like grieve, or he was like, I was angry, just like your family. He was angry, and he was like, dude, he left behind 2 kids, I think, 1 kid. They grew up, they went to Hidden Valley Middle School together, they went to Orange Glen together, they kind of lived life together, and he just died. And he was angry, and he was in his own head. But he and I, again, I was doing everything right, quote unquote. I was going to college. I was doing all that, and he was trying things and then getting bored of them. So he would do something else. And then, and I just, in my head, I was like, dude, what a loser. Like, like I was angry at him because it was like, dude, get your shit together. Our parents are amazing parents. Like I'm sure yours are too. And our family's amazing. And what, like, it was almost a point where I asked myself, like, why don't you love us, dude? Like, why don't you hang out with mom? Why don't you sit with mom and just be like, yo, what's up? And he was always clashing with her. And it was like, I was seeing the self-destruction as well. And again, I'm not saying that I have this, we're the same person. Because obviously your brother was doing drugs, but my brother separated himself from us, and now he's in the Navy. And not that I lost him in the same way that you did, but just not having him there for Thanksgiving. He might not be back for Christmas. Now I'm like, oh shit, man, and I'm sure you guys are going through that as well. Obviously you're going through that. And he's got two little kids, right? So, I mean, I appreciate you sharing that. And the reason I've wanted to talk about this a little bit is because if anyone out there is listening, everyone's going through something. Everyone's going through grief. Everyone's going through loss. It might be in the way that you are, you aren't. Obviously, like our family has been very tight knit, or tried to be tight knit, and then my brother's not here for Thanksgiving. And knowing that he kind of has, like, he and I both kind of have that dark depression monster behind us. I've been super open about my depression. I don't want to out him or anything, but he writes to us and he's just like, dude, I'm on a boat. This sucks. I bet. And I'm like, I'm just like, I'm there's nothing I can do, man. This is what's been going on. We miss you. And I think finally now he's hit that point where he's like, wow, like I should have, I should have done more. I should have hung out with them more. I should have, I shouldn't have been dating around and doing all this dumb shit. Should have been hanging out with my family. How does one help someone who's kind of gone? How did you guys try to reach out to Daniel? And
I think in the beginning, my mom our parents were split up when we were young, so we came from a broken home. Our parents were just never together.
Right.
And for us, we grew up like that. It happened when we were all very little. So we never it didn't affect us really. We just had our normal was we live with my mom, but sometimes we go see my dad. And my dad was kind of MIA for a lot of us growing up. He had an issue with drugs and stuff too when we were growing up. So, like I said, it runs in the family. So my dad was kind of gone. But then when my brother started going through this, my dad was kind of starting to get his act together a bit. And my mom, she just didn't have, she worked full time and raised 4 kids by herself. So she just didn't really have a lot of time or patience, in the beginning, all she saw was my brother just being a little asshole, so she didn't, so she was like, she didn't think anything of it. But, once everyone started figuring out that there was kind of a deeper issue going on when he was just continuously getting in trouble, and starting to get arrested, and then we started finding weed in the house or his piece or whatever, and she tried. I think she tried the best she could, but at the same time, I think my mom kind of tried to be she tried to be our friend. I think more so than our mom, and I think we needed her all. He especially, but I think all of us needed her to be my mom. And she was young. She had me when she was 15, 16 years old.
Yeah, that's tough.
So she was a kid, and then she had 4 kids in a row. She had every year she had another baby. Damn. So by the time she was 21, she had like 4 kids.
Damn.
And then so and then my mom and my dad went through a lot. Another kind of interesting part is one of my sisters was actually given up for adoption when she was born. So actually, I didn't even find out about her until I was like 16 or 17 years old.
Jeez.
Yeah, so that was like another thing like that kind of happened in our family, and I think that angered my brother a lot too, and I think that hurt him because my brother had a really big heart, and he really cared and loved people. I think part of why he liked making people laugh because I think he could tell when somebody was kind of bummed or going through, and he always just wanted to be the good time and the positive. Like, hey, if I can help this guy laugh for today, maybe I'll help them out. Like he was always trying to be the life of the party, my brother, and I think finding out that now there's another sister we had that we haven't known or until we were 15, 16, 17 years old. I think that really hurt him too. And at that point he was already angry about something, and I'll never really know what, my mom, like I said, I think we think maybe when he got held back and seeing all of his friends kind of go on and he was kind of stuck, I think that really angered him.
It's a school system, man.
Yeah, and it sucks. And not that I'm blaming the school, he wasn't doing the work. He was not performing in class. So it's not like they were just like, hey, we're just going to pick you to hold you back. But it's like, right. No, I think, he got held back because of how he got held back because he wasn't doing the work. And I think that pissed him off. And, on top of that, then a couple of years later, you find out, oh, here's a sister you've never known. And I think that pissed him off, and he never really took the time to get to know her when he was alive and younger, when we started meeting her. And I think he regretted that, and I think he was ashamed of a lot of things he was doing, but he just kept doing them. He couldn't stop. I think he probably felt that he was so far gone, maybe. So why just keep going. And my brother was always very he was always down. He was just always down. He was just willing to do whatever there was on the table to do, he was willing to do it. He was such a daredevil as a kid, and I think that kind of behavior led him to I'll just try whatever. I'll just do it. I'll do whatever because I don't want to be the guy that didn't do it.
Right.
That I don't want to be a bitch. I don't want to be I'm
gonna ruin the party. I'm the life of the party.
Yeah. So, and I think unfortunately, that addictive gene was just in him, and once he started doing the harder stuff, he just
took control.
It took control of him, and when he was sober for a few months, he explained, he's like I just like getting high. He's like, I love it. He's like, I love getting high. He's like, I want to get high every day, and I think that's something that some people don't understand. Like with addiction, like just because you get clean, you're not cured. Like it lives with you every single day. Yeah. Which is why I said that you have to be ready to make a life change. Like if you think you're just gonna keep doing the same things you were doing but not doing drugs, like it's just not gonna work. You have to remove yourself from the situations or people that's going to bring you back into that life. And right. He wasn't ready to do that yet. He stopped doing the drugs, but he wasn't ready to stop talking to the people that were supplying it or around it or doing it with them. And
because I think that's that little attachment that they have of just like, oh, I'm not doing it, but this is the homie. It's still the homie.
Yeah. And I can only imagine that's hard, especially, and maybe some of them, I imagine some of them really were his friends, but they're also going through something they're also going through a drug issue, and you can't hang around with drug addicts. Eventually you're going to do drugs, like, if you have an issue. Right. And yeah, I just, I don't know. I don't really know what else could have been done. I think my parents, I think my dad especially was trying to make up for lost time and understanding that he didn't really raise us. He wasn't around when we were growing up. And I think he was just trying to give Daniel whatever he wanted and just kind of give in to him because he felt bad for not being there. And I think my brother probably had a lot of anger towards him too that he never talked about.
Yeah.
Him and my dad, they would talk a lot, but they also argued a lot. And my brother's big excuse, when my dad when he would ask my dad for money to buy weed or do this, and he'd be like, well, what the hell? Like you were doing all this when you were my age, like what the fuck, like. Yeah. And I'm sure my dad was just like I can't. Why am I gonna? How can I tell him stop doing this shit when I was doing all this shit up until recently? Yeah. And I think that I think my brother thought like, oh, eventually I'll do it and I'll get out of it, like how you did. Now you're working, you have a job, you have a car. Yeah. And yeah, so but I don't know. I mean, maybe my parents should have been harder on him. I mean, I think it starts when you're young. There has to be structure, and we were kind of able to just kind of run wild as kids. My mom was at work till 6 or 7 o'clock at night, and during the summer, really was once I was like in middle school, we were kind of left alone all day, like at home. Like she was like, "Well, you're old enough to kind of just
take care of yourselves."
Yeah, pour him cereal, and and Daniel would get up and get a skateboard, and he'd take off, and there was like no, I had uncles that would watch it, but my uncle that was watching this was a drug addict too, going through it.
Yeah.
And Daniel was kind of aware of what he was doing because of the people he hung out with. He was a little more knowledgeable on what was happening than I was. I just thought my uncle would go in the room and lock the door, and we wouldn't see him for 2 hours because he was taking a nap. Yeah. Little did I know he was in there, smoking crack and and, just usual stuff. Yeah. But
you don't do that.
Yeah, I mean, we all do that, right? Everybody has a 2-hour crack break, during the summer. Yeah, my brother was just always very curious, and I think, I think at the end of the day, people need authority when you're young, growing up, especially. You need structure, and but I think people are gonna fall into what they fall into, no matter what. I think if you're too strict, that makes them want to branch out more. Yeah. And if you're too lenient, you just let them do whatever they want, then it's like, and sometimes they say like, you don't just, let them do what you want, and eventually they'll be like, maybe they won't want to do it. But I think some people just have it in them that if they start doing drugs, and they're going to become a drug addict. It's just, for me, like I think like, maybe I should have tried to talk to him more, and like, instead of yelling at him and fighting with him all the time, maybe I should have like been like, dude, like what the hell's going on with you? Like what the fuck? Like what do we need? Like, and I didn't do that. I was always just pissed off at him because he was breaking windows because my mom kicked him out of the house, or he was throwing things at people, or he, fighting with me, or fighting with my mom, fighting with my dad, abandoning his kids. Yeah. And for a long time I just thought, you're a bad person. You're just a bad person, and, I found out later on that, he regretted all of it, and he felt bad for it. And I know he wasn't a bad person. It was, the drugs, they take you over. Like right. You become a completely different human being. And I think, yeah, it's hard. It's hard to say, what to do, because I think everyone's different. Yeah. I think for him, I think he just needed to be monitored. He needed to be busy, and he wasn't. And I think a lot of times he would do good for a little bit, and then he would lose a job, and then he wouldn't work for a couple of days, and then he'd go hang out, and then everybody would just kind of not say anything. And I think he needed that accountability. I think he needed people to be on his ass. Like, dude, like, hey, no, you're not going, like, you need to stay home, like, watch your kid. Whereas like, he'd be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go somewhere, can you guys watch a kid? And everyone's just like, oh yeah, we'll watch the baby. But we should have been like, you know what? No, you need to stay home and watch your kid. Or hey, you need to you lost your job. You need to go interview tomorrow. Like people needed to be on him for a lot longer. And I think a lot of us, myself included, we just kind of, oh well, what are we gonna do? And I think not. And again, I think a lot of it was his decisions why it led to what happened. But I think maybe had we been on him more, maybe it wouldn't have happened. Maybe that wouldn't have happened. Maybe he could have gotten himself together and figured it out eventually. But yeah, I don't know. I think for people that are going through addiction, you have to hold them accountable, and you can't. I have friends that casually do drugs, and I look at them like, dude, like don't, you think it's a joke, and it's not. Like it's all like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do a couple lines of coke, or I'm gonna do this or that, and it's like, I'm fine, and they probably will never become drug addicts, but I have friends that that they have a bad day and they get drunk, and then someone hits them up, and next thing you know, they're going on a weekend binge, and they're like, I don't have a problem, but it's like, but why'd you do it though? Because you had a bad day. Yeah. And it's like, and I don't like preaching to like people like, oh, like if you do drugs, your life is like, people are gonna try things, and doesn't mean you're gonna have an issue. But I've seen and witnessed what happens when you do have an issue, when you're angry and sad and you start doing drugs. It just leads you down this path, and sometimes it ends bad where you're in an early grave. Yeah. So I think people just need to understand like drugs are an issue, and if you're gonna do things like that, don't do it based off an emotion. Do it if you're genuinely curious, I guess. Try it, but I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't wake up and be like, yeah, I wonder what meth is like. Like.
Right.
Like,
I mean, I hope not.
If you do, then I mean, good luck. But yeah, I mean, I think you have to. It's hard to notice signs, but I mean, I think you just got to try to be hold people accountable for their actions. Like even like with your friends, like if you see them going down like a path that maybe you don't, that you see that you're seeing like, hey man, like you're kind of drinking too much, or you're kind of, these weekend binges are kind of happening a little more often. Like what's going on? And I think with guys it's a big problem because nobody wants to talk about their feelings. You can't cry in front of anybody.
Be a man.
Be a man. Yeah, be a man. Well,
Circling it back, I like it.
Be a man. And so, and but I think we have to talk. I think that's a big issue with, especially guys our age. I mean, I think of guys of any age, but especially our age, when we're just like, we're trying to be tough, and don't talk to my girl like that, or don't look at my girl, or what, did you bump my shoulder? Like, and it's like, bro, huh, bro? What's good, bro? But like me, I've never had a problem. Kind of, I mean, I not never had a problem, but I'm a little more open to saying how I feel, and I've cried in front of my friends. I cry in movies all the time, The Notebook. But no, but I have no problem crying in front of my wife. I have no problem crying in front of my friends. Like I mean, I don't, I'm not just crying every single day. Like, oh my god, hey guys, oh my god. But how's
it going? Good. How are you?
But I think I just think with guys especially, like we have to, I think it's society as well, and what we see and what we hear, and how, especially for Hispanic, like Mexicans, like, never see my dad cry, you don't, and your dad, crying, don't be a baby, don't be a girl, don't be a girl, you have to be a man.
Big time.
But I think that's a problem. Like, we're not allowed to feel, apparently. So, and when you can't feel, what do? You want to get it, you want to take away all the bad feelings. So, and what does that? Drinking and drugs. And I think, so I think, for me, what I try to do now, and I think I've always tried to do this, but like if I notice my friends going down a path, call them on it, call them on their bullshit, don't just let it go. If you see something bad, like whether it's your siblings or your friends, like you should call them out on it and hold them accountable. And this doesn't mean it'll fix it, but just let them know, like, hey, I know what you're doing, like, and it doesn't look good, and I think you're making a mistake, and if you need to talk to me, like, let them know you're there. And sometimes that's really all it needs. Like, sometimes you just need to be told, like, hey man, like, whatever you need, like, I got you.
Yeah.
And because some people don't know sometimes.
Right.
I don't think people know.
And something I always preach about is like your circle of friends.
Mm-hmm.
Circle of friends is important, and also not only you don't have surface level conversations with your friends. I talk about a group of friends that I have, where if we're all having a shitty day, like, we'll hang out and have a bonfire or something. Yeah, maybe we'll drink a little bit, like, but we're not trying to hide those feelings and suppress everything. Like, yeah, dude, talk. Like, and if we need advice, like, we'll say, what do you think I should do? This is what's going on. And they'll give their 2 cents, or they'll just sit there and listen.
Yeah.
You talked about how you guys had that big group of friends and then it got even smaller. That happens all the time too, because you end up losing those friends, or maybe those other friends were like, you know what, this group of friends isn't really my jam. I'm going to go over here.
Yeah.
And that's totally fine. I think when it comes to addiction, it's rough, because I mean, we have addiction in our family, and I've found myself, I always had that addictive personality, and I knew it because it happened with video games. It happened with, obviously movies. And then I found, like, whenever I would have a bad day, I'd be like, I'm gonna have a beer, like a couple beers. And I was telling you that I did the Sober October thing. And it actually helped, because I saw, like, not that I had a drinking, now I'm gonna be like, not that I had a problem. I didn't have a problem, but like, I was doing it too often, where I was like, you know what, I've drank 3 times this week. Yeah, I should probably stop. And my face was like puffy, and like, then I stopped, and like, I felt good. Like, my face wasn't puffy anymore. Which is something so small and stuff, but when you think about that in the long run, like, what if I just kept going? Yeah. Like, what would I look like and feel like right now? And someone could even tell me, like, hey man, you're drinking quite a bit.
Exactly.
And if I get pissed, then it's like, oh, why am I getting pissed? Yeah. Or why? Like, I think it's important to obviously have those conversations with people, but also have the conversation with yourself. Exactly. Like, am I drinking too much? Am I doing something rather too much? Like, I've never gambled. I've gone to like a buffet for a casino. Yeah. Or at a casino, but I've never gambled, because I know I'm going to get addicted to that. Yeah. Like, I remember this one time I went through a phase of like, you know, little claw machines.
Oh yeah.
Dude, I was spending like, and I was a kid, but I was spending like $20 on one of them. Like, I was like, come on, man, I have it. And then I remember even as like a middle schooler, I was like, oh my God, I have a problem. Like, I gotta stop because these claw machines are gonna, you know, you're gonna take my allowance. But man, I appreciate you talking about that because I know that's hard for I'm sure it's hard for others to listen. It was kind of hard for me to listen just because that's one of those things that you're just sitting there going, yeah, what do we do?
Right.
What do we, and what resources are, I wish I could sit here and say, hey, these are the resources. Yeah. We don't really know. And we don't really have.
No, there's no answer. There's nothing, there's no button you press and someone comes and solves that issue, you know, exactly. whether addiction or how to grieve or, you know, or how to move on. And there isn't, it's different for everybody, but.
Well, what's next for you guys? What, as a couple, as yourself, what do you think is next? 2020 has been a weird year, and I think everyone's talked about that. I've actually looked at the good things. Yeah, I know a lot of people have died, and that's, you know, I'm not trying to be here like, hell yeah, Corona. Yeah. But is there something that you looked at this year that you were like, this is good, and it's going to be good for my future? What's next, man?
You know, I mean, it's been, you know, obviously on top of the pandemic, I lost my brother. So that was like, it's been like a downer of a year, the first half, especially. But as time has gone on, I think, I don't know. I think what happens a lot when you lose somebody, right? You realize, you know, don't take anything for granted. You know, life is too short. You know, so you hear it all the time, but you don't, it's just a thing. But then when you lose somebody, you realize like, hey, you know, that's actually true. Like you just never know. Right. You never know. And, you know, me and my wife are about to be in our first year of marriage, and you know, we live together. We're out, you know, and we're trying to get our life started. You know, once the world is kind of a little more open, we want to like experience life with each other and travel and do things, and you know, and then, you know, talk of starting a family, obviously, but. Yeah, I don't know. We don't really know yet. I mean, hopefully next year is a better year for everybody. My wife is faded.
Damn, dude. She just fell down.
She just fell. Babe, are you okay?
You all right? Wow, she just fell.
Her ankle is twisted. Holy shit. You were my ride. What the hell? Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure what 2021 has in store for us or anybody. I think just hopefully it's an improvement than 2020. I mean, I don't think 2020. I mean, it was a bad year, and I know the joke is 20. Like, you know, it's still March. March has lasted 8 months or whatever. Yeah. You know, and
I mean, it's pretty true.
It's been a long fucking year, but yeah, I'm not sure, man. I think just I don't know. I'm gonna start a podcast. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Local Hub, baby.
Local Hub. Come to Local Hub. Start your podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
Get the This is the ISIS suite here. Stone walls, curtains.
I think you mean ISIS.
ISIS. I mean, I say ISIS, bro.
All right.
If you're from the country, that's how you pronounce it. All you Americans here just calling it ISIS.
Calling it ISIS. Do you ever see that tweet of that old white lady that's like, I'm going to turn ISIS into was. It's like... Because like is
oh was, yeah, that's clever. That's clever, lady. That's clever. Yeah. Jeez,
it was some like old Rebecca looking lady.
Perfect. But love a good Rebecca.
Anyway, I appreciate you being here, man, and talking. And honestly, I think you should start a podcast, because just like a cinema podcast or something. Because you have good presence, first of all, and you were just like, yeah, man, I'll do it. Yeah. And you came on and you're like, boom. I mean, obviously, I hope people enjoyed it, but.
Well, if not, then let me know and I will end your bloodline. I'll end it.
Car bombs left and right.
Well, car bomb. There will be car bombs. There will be, you name it, and I'll do it. I'll bring it to this room, and it looks like an assassination room here.
I'll bring the lights.
Yeah, bring the lights, Kate Felix, and we'll behead some people.
Where can people find you?
Probably in prison after this. So, get my info. No, I'm on Instagram, mudbutt93.
Mudbutt93.
I've never changed it. Everybody, people, absolutely not. Everybody's changed their Instagram name since high school at least 4 times, and I'm loyal, bro. Commitment's not a problem with me.
I've done it once. I've only changed it once.
That's fine, bro. Everybody does it once.
Yeah, because I was like, oh, I'm not. But like Snapchat, you can't change it.
You can't?
No.
Oh shit.
We're different people.
Well, I won't give you my Snapchat handle on here then, because I'll be canceled. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I'm on Instagram, Mudbutt93. I'm on Twitter at I think RudeDog93, or Our Lord is my Twitter name.
Our Lord.
Our Lord. And yeah, you could just find me at home drinking my problems away.
You guys had something for Daniel. I hope this doesn't sound cheesy, but I want to dedicate this episode to Daniel.
Yeah.
When I knew him, obviously it was in middle school, but he was such a cool dude. He was so freaking funny, dude. He was in our classes when he got held back. And
okay.
I want to dedicate this to him. But if people are trying to help or anything, do you guys still have that link up for the Venmo?
I had people sending money to my Venmo directly. I don't know what my Venmo thing is. I don't know.
I'll put it in the show notes.
I'll send it to you, the link, if people want to donate. It was to help my family and his kids, just with, money expenses going forward.
Yeah.
But yeah, if anybody wants, if not, then just, it's fine. It's perfectly okay. But yeah, thank you for dedicating to my brother.
Of course.
Go see him.
And yeah, people go see him. He's got a nice headstone over at, is it Oak Hill Cemetery? Oak Hill Cemetery.
Oak Hill Cemetery.
He's got a beautiful headstone that just got put up a few days ago. But yeah, I'm happy to come here and talk about him, keep him alive in our memories as long as we can. And, love you, Daniel.
Well, good luck to you guys and your family.
Thank you so much, man.
Good luck with the little ones. You're a man, dude. I think you're a man.
I'm the man.
That's the thing about him. He's the man. All right. As always, thank you so much for listening to This Life, a podcast by Mayorca Media. You can follow me at Mayorca Media on, what's it called? Instagram.
That's right.
Subscribe to the podcast. Subscribe to the YouTube. Leave a review and a 5-star rating. Boom, nailed it.
5 stars, or your bloodline will be ended.
Or yes, that's what's going to be on the show notes now. Is like,
yep.
Your life will end, or your bloodline will end. Thank you again for being on, Priscilla. Thanks for being here in the background, and I will see you on the next episode.
Yeah.